Okay, so here we have it, the Canyon Speedmax CF SLX, which is the brand new model from Canyon. It's the same as Team Katusha rides now, and it's also the bike that Frodo has won so many races on, so as you imagine it's quite a special bike, and I have it here now. It's not mine, but one of my friends. I did a bit of an upgrade to him, and this is my bike, the Track, and I brought them together like this. It's no real coincidence, but more on that later. I guess this video will be a bit special to my American viewers, because very soon they will be able to buy one of these, so keep your ears peeled. Okay, let's start at the front. Of course, any modern aero superbike would have its cockpit integrated. Same thing here. It's extremely neatly done, as you'd expect from Canyon, and a real modern design, although if you look at the Track, then you see right away where the inspiration came from. No monospacer here though, but this is pretty much stacked up as far as it goes. You can move the pads about in basically all kinds of directions. You can flip this clamp to get the extensions even wider. What's special about this cockpit is the collaboration that Canyon have done with Ergon. So you have nice tacky rubber grips that fit seamlessly into the bars, so no messy bar tape. I hate bar tape on base bars. Then you also get these foam grips, so they don't get too sweaty. And the armrest pads are really nice and grippy as well. The cups themselves, well, they're quite shallow, which is a thing that I don't really like, but they're aluminum, so they seem to be quite stable. The bike uses a bayonet fork like most modern time trial bikes use. Again, I think this is a thing that Trek has come up with. You get a really chunky and super stiff chemtail profiled base bar. Actually, this bike is a bit too large for me, but I was curious, so I made a short spin on it so I can report on the on the ride characteristics as well. And I have to say, this is an area where there's an improvement of a Track. If you, for example, on a time trial start at the low speed with the high gear and start wrenching on the bars at high torque, then you can feel that the front end of the Track, although it's extremely neat and thin, that also means that it's not extremely stiff. It doesn't affect the handling as such in any negative way, but I felt the Canyon to be a lot stiffer in the front when getting a time trial start. Then if you get down to the brakes, which is again completely familiar to the Track, integrated center pole design. What I really like is this rubber cover on it, so it's not plastic, it's just a rubber strip that looks like it's alive and breathing as a machine, but it's just really neat, and you don't have to fiddle around with small screws and covers, which is a bit of a pain on the Track. The brake performance is really nice. You really get positive braking on there, but that's also true for the Track. Then another interesting feature is this flip chip here in the fork, so you can effectively adjust, I think, the offset of the axle offset on the fork, so you can change the handling a bit. And there's also quite a big difference in the handling. as I found out, the Canyon is much more nimble and road bike like, but not extremely stable, whereas the track, as you can see, is a lot more slacked out to make it more stable at high speeds and in high winds. It comes down to preference really, which one is better. I think today it was extremely windy, lots of crosswinds, around 30 km per hour, and I was hitting around 65 km per hour on the flat for around 10 kilometers in the tailwind. So in these conditions I think it's a win for the track and it's stable slacked out geometry. But if you wanna say a prologue time trial or some urban riding, some urban race, then or mountains maybe, then the steeper handling, even though it might be a bit twitchy at high speed, then the Canyon is the way to go. Then if we go a little bit further back, of course the hydration system is not on now. Canyon have a complete, like a bento box. I am sure you have seen that on the photos. I don't have this one here right now, but I have here, it's integrated, well, it's a storage area basically, quite similar to the track. It's a bit wider, so it's a bit more useful. If you look at this tube junction, then again quite resemblance there. Also this part of the frame and this bottom bracket area fill and this wheel arch fill, they're all very even suspiciously similar to the track. But I guess you see who the market leader is. Track have done it 2013, still relevant. Canyon obviously know where to look for a good design. So I'm not trying to sound like a track fanboy here, but I think you'll agree it's just there. Also cam tail profiles throughout, although a bit different than the track, because that one is, well, basically flat on this side. This one tapers a bit. The fork is the same kind of profile. My track uses a full foil triathlon fork. It's now also legal for time trialing, so no worries there. The seat post, you have a ton of adjustment in the seat post. I don't know if there are different options for it, but you can see that you can play around with the 4.5 movement quite a lot, which is definitely a good thing. Then I don't know what actually this is, I haven't seen it complete, so probably hydration system, another one. I think this is a stock saddle, ISM Adamo, split nose saddle, a must for triathlon and time trial, so that's a good thing. Then if you get to the back of the bike, the back felt quite stiff, although I would say when accelerating the back end of the track feels a little bit more responsive and stiffer, but really you can't go wrong with any of these. One thing that Canyon haven't done is the storage system right here at the back, which is kind of a miss, but I'm sure there's an aftermarket option for that. The rear brake also down here at the bottom bracket, which is a BB86, by the way. I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet what the actual BB for this is, but it's for 24mm spindles. I don't think you can fit BB30 in there. So when buying a set of ceramics with bearings or something else, keep that in mind. Okay, so the rear brake, actually it's quite hard to see right now, but it also has this kind of rubbery flaps that are on the front brake. And to keep out the dirt, that's actually a really nice design. And it just goes flat onto the bottom bracket. I have dismantled the cover here, and underneath there's quite a bit of complication in there. Definitely much more complicated than the Trex brake, but I don't think you would need to service that anytime soon, because this bike has been factory assembled and both brakes work really nice. So that's good points to Canyon there. Another nice feature of the rear triangle are these kind of flared, there's the dog here, these flared chainstays, which are really beefy. That's good for stiffness. One feature I don't really like are the horizontal dropouts, because yeah, I've seen them on the Cervelo as well, but on that bike you can adjust the fore and aft movement, so you can seat your tire pretty much flush with the seat tube. Here though, it's not adjustable. It's quite close as well, it's actually as close as you want to get with a 25mm tire on there. On the track there's a bit of a gap, which I don't know, I think it's a bit annoying. It should be closer, but these horizontal dropouts would definitely make much more sense if they were adjustable, like on a track bike. I mean a track bike. The track has standard vertical dropouts. And then if you get to the drivetrain, pretty standard, full Durace Di2. This is a factory build. I forgot to mention this little cubby hole in there. I don't think you can put too much in there, but still it's pretty nice. It also seats the seat clamp, and it's magnetic. Yeah, some instructions on there. Just put it on. Yeah, it's quite strong, so hopefully it doesn't fall off. If you look at the frame also, it's UCI legal. My frame doesn't have this sticker because it was original triathlon version, but it's also UCI legal now because they have ditched the 3-to-1 rule. Then another look at the dropouts. Actually, I have one slight complaint here. The Di2 wire exits here at the bottom, so I had to tape it up completely, because otherwise it would collide with the oversized pulley wheel system, but it works fine like this. I think Ceramic Speed even say that this shouldn't work on this bike, but you can make it work if you're a bit creative. You only need to make sure that the wire is snug right up here. I think it would be a much better option if it exited somewhere here or here maybe. It's quite of an unfortunate spot in here, but that's not really that much of a problem. Of course, Ceramics with oversized pulley wheel system here. These are both my wheels, because he didn't bring any wheels to fit this bike. So I put these in. This is a 32 SRAM red cassette, and I have to say the Shimano version doesn't support it. It only goes up to 28th and then it's done. I couldn't make it work, so that's important to keep in mind. The SRAM version with the 32 cassette though works like a charm. Best function of all cassettes. SRAM red oversized pulley system with 32 cassette. Okay, then you go to the down tube. You get a pair of bottle bosses here, one set here. It's also a really nice feature if you're time trialing. You put these aero bottles in here in the bottom where it's least affected by the wind, and if you want a big bottle, then you just basically can play around with it to make it a bit more aero. Another feature I love about this bike, is that you can remove the front derailleur mount, which you can't on the track, and it's quite a shame because that would make my one by setup a lot cleaner, but it stays on for now. I just wouldn't have the heart to sand it off, but the Canyon has it removable, so kudos for that. And if you get back to the front a bit, with Di2 of course you need to house your junction box. I think that's a big fault with the track. You have to put the junction box, and also if you run E-tap, then the blip box, you have to put them here on top of the I don't know what to call this, the stem cover or this bit, and you can't put it anywhere inside the bike. With this one though, this area is much wider. This is where all the wires come in together through the steer tube. You put this, you take this plastic cover off, and then inside it goes. I actually managed to fit an ANT+ sensor into the bar, and then the 5-port junction box down here, and it all fits really nice and snug. So no wires sticking out basically, except these, but I don't really know why the bottom spaces don't have this real groove in there, but I just taped them up to make it a bit cleaner of a setup. Okay, so I think this is pretty much it. I tried to cover all the nasty little details that I could about this cool bike. Would I prefer it over the track? Hard to say. Definitely it's gonna be a lot cheaper, even in the US. I think it's a really good design, but if you already have a high-end bike like this one, then I think no, it's not worth it. But if you are in the market for a new one, then yeah, it's definitely a good option. I had an Argon 18 a couple of weeks before now, and I would say this one is far superior, so thumbs up for the Canyon. If you'd like to know more about my bike and maybe some other high-end bikes like these two, then don't forget to check out my channel and my other videos. For today it's all. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.